I played 100 days on Stardew Valley Beach Farm, and it turned out nothing like I expected. I want to get right into the action, but just so you know, here were the 4 rules I made for myself. I've never completed the community center in the first year before, so I wanted to complete it in 100 days, and I remixed the bundles for an extra challenge. I also forgot to select the completable in first year, so will we be able to do it? Well, I guess we'll find out. I reduced the profit margin so that I could see what that was like. So I decided instead of $1 million, let's do 750,000 earned in the first 100 days. Number 3, I wanted to see if I could get all my skills to level 10. Number 4, I wanted to be pretty antisocial. I had this idea that this character was like a too cool for school surfer dude that was way too good for Pelican Town, or so we thought. So we'll see what happens with that, and I'll talk about that a little later in the video. I was really excited to see what happened because I've never played the beach farm before and I knew honestly nothing about it. So let's find out what happens when you take somebody new to the beach farm and play 100 days of Stardew Valley. Here we go. On day 1, I spent some time exploring the farm since, as I mentioned, I didn't really know what this layout even was. Then I did some foraging because I wanted to hit level 1 foraging overnight. And then, of course, I planted my parsnips. I ended up finding some mixed seeds, so I planted those as well. I spent the rest of the day meeting some of the townspeople, hunting for more foraged goods, and overnight I ended up hitting level 1 foraging, thank goodness. On day 2, I bought some more seeds. One other thing that I forgot to mention is actually that I made it a rule for myself that I could not check the Stardew wiki if I didn't know if a crop was profitable, where to find fish, things like that, because I wanted to try and get as far as I could without using that resource because I usually reference it all the time. So I bought some kale seeds. I think I remember that they were profitable, planted those on the farm, and watered all my crops for the day. Then I decided to go get the fishing rod from the beach and spend the rest of the day foraging, making field snacks to keep me going till late at night, and then finished off the day fishing and selling what I found. Day 3, the guaranteed rain day, I fished for, well, as long as I could tolerate it, and I kept missing the fish, as you can see here, so I just cut that out around 6 or 7 p.m. and spent the rest of the day shaking trees around my farm, trying to find the ingredients for field snacks for the next day. And then on day 4, I repaired the bridge so that I could collect some of the beachwares, and then I planted some more seeds that I bought with the money that I had collected so far. Day 5, I adopted a very cute little doggy, but for some reason I named it Wishbone, and I'm still not sure why I did that. In a day of questionable decisions, I also decided to buy a peach from the traveling cart. What? Also learned something new about the beach farm. You can find shipwreck packages. I found 5 cherry bombs, which is totally awesome, so I rushed right over to the mines. In the mines, I found a club, which I have really mixed feelings about, and you'll see why a little bit later in the video. But then I also got to level 10, which is awesome, and I got boots. So all in all, it was a successful day. Also hit level 1 farming. On day 6, I broke open some geodes, donated them to the museum, which rewarded me with some cauliflower, which I planted immediately, and then crafted a furnace for some strange reason. I didn't even end up using it that day, but at least I have a furnace. For day 7, I thought I was going to complete my first bundle and then realized remix. Nope, not today. So then I spent the rest of the day in the mine since it was raining and earned level 1 combat. It rained again on day 8, so I bought some more kale seeds and upgraded my backpack, and then I actually completed my first bundle. I spent the rest of the day in the mines. I ended up getting to level 20, which is awesome, but then I didn't have enough time or energy to plant my spring seeds, so that would have to wait until tomorrow. Day 9, I planted and watered my spring seeds, and then I finally bumped into Leah, which completed my Meet the Villagers quest. Day 10, even more rain, so I spent the most of the day in the mines and got attacked by a lot of bugs. And then I did reach level 30, saw that it was the dark levels next, said nope, and that was it for me for the day. The next day, after attending to my crops, I checked out the request board. Luckily enough, I had actually caught a flounder on one of the rainy days, so I knew this was a slam dunk. I also had an amethyst kicking around, so I decided to not only complete the request for Abigail, but also complete another quest giving her a gift, so I scored some major points today. To make it a trifecta, I found Robin's axe and delivered that to her on the same day. Also decided to crack some more geodes, donate them to the museum, and then I picked up some melons, which is setting me up great for summer. Day 11, I did some monotonous tasks like tending to my crops, fishing, foraging, and just cleaning up the farm, but I did happen to craft a couple tappers and put them to work right away. Decided to go to the egg festival because I do like the hat that you win, so secured that. I also bought a bunch of strawberries because I heard in the comments of my other videos that strawberries are the way to go, so I planted them, and well, we'll see what happens with them if I get to harvest or not. Day 14, it was raining, so I decided I probably need to face my fears and go to the mines. I did bring a torch or two with me because, yes, I am that afraid of the dark. It was also giving me Diablo vibes in the mines, and I recently read an article where Concerned Ape said he was inspired by Diablo for the combat portion of the game, so now it's all making a lot of sense. Luckily, I made it through to level 40 and obtained a slingshot. On day 15, I had some money that I made from all the kale that I bought, so I reinvested it into potato seeds and planted those, as well as some flowers just in case I needed them for quests. I then cracked open some geodes, donated this stuff to the museum, and I ended up getting starfruit seeds as a reward. Day 16, we had rain again. I also had quite a big harvest, so I was really excited for that. I didn't want to wait overnight to collect my money because I wanted to see where I was at to buy the rest of my seeds for the season, so I ended up going to Pierre's and selling them right then and there. Then I decided I was going to spend the rest of the day in the mines, and I got a little too greedy and I almost died, and then I stayed a little too late and then I almost passed out. I got a little too close for comfort, but luckily it all ended okay. Now we're on day 17, and I'm really starting to wonder, am I going to hit the record for most rainy days in the first spring? Because it seems like it's raining almost every day. So anyways, I made sure Robin started on my silo because I wanted to start cutting my grass and collecting hay for my future animals. Then I spent all day in the mines, and I mentioned that club earlier. I started using that one a little bit, and then I found this better club, and it was by far the strongest weapon I had, and it gets me into a little bit of trouble later because it's so slow to attack, but I did manage to reach level 55 in the mines. Day 18, we're back to the sunshine, and I got to harvest quite a few cauliflowers, which provided a much needed boost to my income, and then finished up harvesting as many salmon berries as I could. My silo was also finished being built, so I finally got to start collecting hay. So satisfying. Also found out it was Pam's birthday. Stuck up surfer guy thought I need a friend, so he picked Pam. I also decided to plant some more potatoes so that I could keep that farming income coming in. On day 19, I went to build a coop and then realized I didn't have enough gold. So my mission for the rest of the day was to forage, fish, and do whatever I could to make some more money. Now on to day 20, none of my crops were really ready to harvest except for my green beans, so I grabbed some of those and then headed to the mines for the day. I made it to level 60 and ended up catching a ghost fish, which I thought I needed for a bundle, but I actually didn't. I was also tired of stumbling around in the dark. I had some iron bars ready, plus I got 5 solar essence, so I decided to craft a glow ring. Much better. Day 21, I harvested some potatoes and noticed that my strawberries were finally ready to harvest, which is going to give me some much needed income. So I harvested and watered my crops, and then I decided to head to the mines. When I got to the mines, I got to level 65, which was pretty good. Day 22 was pretty awesome. I ended up finishing my crab pot bundle, which was perfect because then I actually got some crab pots to start passively increasing my fishing skill. I also put a lot of things I needed for my other bundles together, so I'm really close to finishing a lot of other bundles, so it kind of gave me a plan of what to focus on next. When I got back to the farm, I immediately put my crab pots to work, and then I decided to head over to Robin's and finally build the coop because I have enough money for it. The placement of this coop ends up being a little bit of shambles for me, but we will see what happens with that in just a few days. I called it a pretty early night today, but I did hit level 5 farming, and as you can see, I debated really heavily which one I should go with, but I figured since farming is usually a pretty profitable option, that's the one I ended up going with. On day 23, I took care of things around the farm, watered my crops, put my crab pots in action again with some bait, and then I went and dropped off my axe to upgrade to copper. After that, I headed to the mines for the day, and I ended up getting to level 75. Then, on my way home, I got to see one of my favorite cutscenes ever, the Linus cutscene, so I definitely took my time to enjoy that. Then, I just sorted out what I had gathered from the mines for the day and called it a night. Day 24 started out awesome. I took care of all my crops, including a really big harvest of potatoes, so I was really happy about that. Then I decided to head to the community center where I completed one of my bundles in the boiler room, which gave me a furnace, which is very handy because I was operating with just one furnace up until this time. Then it was time for the spring dance, and let me tell you, I realized I was kind of being that antisocial person that thought they were a little bit too good for Pelican Town. I hadn't really made any connections with anyone yet. As you can see, I asked 4 different people if they wanted to dance, and they all said no. What I want to know from you in the comments is, are you interested in the next part of the series, the 100 to 200 days, if I was going to make it more of a narrative and a story? Are you into that, or do you just want to see like how the farm grows? So the next day after the festival, I ended up getting a visit from Demetrius, and I had the choice between the mushroom cave or the bat fruit cave. And this is the first time I've ever chosen the fruit bat, so I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. I also had my second harvest of strawberries, which is amazing. I know earlier in the video I said, will we get a second one? And that's because I got confused on the last day. I thought there would be a harvest and there wasn't. So I thought I only had got one, but this confirms it, video proof. We did get 2 harvests as expected. That is awesome. After that, I went and picked up my axe from Clint, and then I dropped off my pickaxe to upgrade that. To keep things rolling, I also bought the fiberglass rod from Willie so that I could start really leveling up my fishing skill, because I knew that was a little bit lacking, especially since I can't visit the mines for the next few days. Thought might as well start doing some fishing. When I went to bed, I ended up hitting level 5 foraging, so the profession I chose was of course forester, because wood is just so important and having more of it is never a bad thing. Now we're on day 26. I visited Marnie and I bought 2 cute little chickens and made sure to feed them. And all I have to say about that is I am glad that I gave them 2 days worth of food on this very first day. I also emptied out my entire silo now that my coop is done so that I could start collecting even more hay. The rest of the day was pretty boring. I just spent time chopping down trees, eating field snacks to replenish my energy, and collecting as much wood as possible for my future construction projects. Okay, this is pain. I realized after I had already saved over day 27 that I did not hit the record button, so I do not have the footage from the most chaotic day ever. So before I recap day 28, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened on day 27. It was raining, and I saw that it was going to rain this next day, so I thought, wow, this is the perfect day to upgrade my watering can. So I dropped off my watering can and then realized I had spent all my money and I'm supposed to be buying seeds the next day. So I basically scampered around the mines and fished all day, and I only made about 1,000 gold. So that brings us to today, the 28th, where I was determined to make as much money as I could before summer 1. So as you can see, on the 28th, I was still scampering around the map. Ended up going to the mines because I thought that could be my most profitable since I was pretty far in the mines. Got to level 80 and got the Firewalker boots and found quite a few things I could sell overnight to try to get at least a little bit of gold to start off my summer off right, because I am nowhere near my gold goal, which was 750,000. But here's where things really start to turn around for me. I sold what I could, went to sleep, and I did hit level 5 mining, and I've never actually chosen the geologist profession before, and I thought that would be a really good way to get some early game income if I could get double gems. So that's what I went with. 1,300 gold for this day, not bad. Now you know why the title says spring was chaotic, because it really did not go at all as I hoped it to, but that's okay. New season, new motto, let's get this production going, and so we can get as far as we can. Luckily, summer gets off to a much better start. I till as much soil as possible. Even though I don't have probably that much money for seeds, I just want to get everything ready so that I can start planting as many crops as possible. I already have some melon and starfruit seeds, so let's go. As soon as I walk outside my farm, I also see almost everything I need for my summer foraging bundle, so that is an awesome thing to knock off my list so I can get even more seeds to plant. I actually got quite a few seeds. I planted my starfruit. I had melon, blueberries, corn, radish, peppers, tomatoes, pretty much everything I needed for my bundles, so I decided to plant it all and then get to work on making some more money to go buy even more seeds. Then I decided to stop in and check on my chickens. They're finally grown up and they started producing eggs, which is very good timing because, again, I'm now on a mission to make this farm really successful. I ended the day with some foraging, and as you can see from my inventory, I had some pretty decent outcomes, so I'm going to sell everything, head to bed, and start the next day. Day 30, I bought a little bit more of melon, blueberry, and radish seeds, planted them all, and then I headed over to the community center because I had enough to finish my summer foraging bundle. I hightailed it back to the farm and ended up planting all those seeds as well. Day 31, after watering my crops, I decided to go to the mines and showcase, well, not my best combat skills as you can see here, but on the upside, I did find double emeralds and a big pile of gold ores. Unfortunately, that is where my good luck ended. I got to level 84, and I always like finishing on 85 or 90, something like that, because then you get to the next elevator level. But I ran into a bunch of bats. I ran out of food. I didn't have enough for a staircase, so I thought, oh, I'll just finish these bats off, get to level 85, no problem. I think I'm almost done clearing the bats, but then I get the Darkness of Doom, so I decide I am way too low health, I just leave and unfortunately don't get to level 85. We pick back up on day 32, and this is where I decide to start the day off and crack some geodes, donate what I found to the museum, and then it's time to get planting some more crops, and I am going to finally utilize sprinklers. I have the ingredients for it, I've unlocked the recipe, I'm very excited. So we're ready to rock here. I am getting everything ready to plant my seeds in the formation that I need for the sprinklers. Then I decide to craft my sprinklers and let's get these laid. Ouch. This is such pain. So I just learned something new about the beach farm, that you cannot use sprinklers in, well, anywhere except the greenhouse. So I am so upset at this point, and I realized that this is such a waste of time and energy. Yes, I can still water them manually, but I decided just to go to bed at about 6 p.m. because I was so frustrated that I did not know this. Luckily, this story does have a redemption arc, but we're not quite there yet. So I started the day obviously tending to my crops and whatnot. Then I decided to go to the mines to see if I could get a little bit further in that and have better luck there. I'm still using that slow club because it is my strongest weapon at this point, and the enemies are getting pretty strong, so my other swords were not going to cut it. So things are going okay, but then this happens. I haven't actually got to 0 HP in Stardew Valley for a very long time because I'm usually pretty good at keeping myself fed and killing enemies, or at least running away. But anyways, Maru finds me, what an angel, and then I ended up losing only an Omni Geode, so I can live with that. So I decided to head to the spa, recover a little bit, and then reset. This is where the redemption arc truly starts. I ended up spending the rest of the day farm clearing, and this is where I discovered there is land that you can use sprinklers. So I was really happy about that. But then my next problem is that I need a steel axe, but that is a problem I know I can get through. So I'm feeling way better, and now it's time to get this land into production, and let's get it started here. So I start off day 34, tending to my crops, and then I go checking on my chickens. I realized I actually forgot to feed them the day before, but because I have 4 slots to feed, I always fill it up full, so they were still happy, still producing eggs, all good there. Then I decided to donate some more things to the museum. I had quite a few geodes to break, so I had a lot of things to donate. Decided to banter with Haley on the beach and troll her a little bit, and then it was time to collect all the beach forageables, and then I honestly just spent the rest of the day clearing up my farm a little bit, cutting down some trees, getting some more raw supplies like wood and stone. Day 35 was great. I started off the day completing a quest for Harvey by delivering him a grape. Then I went and bought a bunch of melon seeds, and since I was just waiting for my steel axe to be done so that I could get all these melon seeds planted, I went to the mines for the rest of the day and had a much more successful time. I found a new strong sword, so I finally could throw out the club. I will not miss it. And to end off the day, I even hit level 6 mining and got the regular bomb recipe. Day 36, I did a big mine day after watering my crops, and I found some genie shoes, but I didn't hang on to them long because I kind of ran out of room in my backpack, and they weren't as good as my current boots in my opinion. And I did have such good items that I found that day, so I wasn't too worried about it, and I did hit level 105 in the mine, so that was great. When I got home, I went to bed, and the best thing happened. A fairy visited my farm and hit up the melons, which I was so happy about because I really needed the money. And as you can see here, I actually had a pretty good day of shipping, so I was really set up for success heading into the next day. Day 37, you better believe I raced out to harvest those melons. I had a big harvest with my summer seeds and some radishes as well. So I bought 50 more seeds. Then I bought another 30 more seeds. I decided to spend a little bit shopping local and bought some bean pots because I knew I was going to need the energy for the mines. Hit level 110 in the mines and got a pair of the space boots. Day 38, I gave Maru a birthday present, and I also finished the mines obtaining the skull key. So now the mines are done, I can just use it as I need resources. On day 39, I collected some pine tar and then visited my chickens. They were a little bit mad because, oops, I forgot to feed them for a few days. But we're back on track, and then I headed to the luau where I donated a gold melon, and the potluck soup turned out pretty good. I also crafted some lightning rods, and let's just say it was perfect timing. Day 40, I woke up and the forecast was rain and thunder, which was perfect. So I watered all my crops, and then I went and picked up my steel axe, which was perfect because I needed it to get those sprinklers online finally. Then I stopped into Pierre's and I ended up getting a cutscene with Abigail and playing Journey of the Prairie King. And fun fact, I have never actually beat that game before, even the first level. So I was really proud that we crushed it out and we ended up passing it no problem. Maybe our stuck-up server boy is actually kind of warming up to the townspeople a little bit after all. So we needed to rush home and then start clearing our tillable, sprinkler-eligible land and get some of these melon seeds planted and sprinkler, because automation is key to start really making the money so we can hit our 750,000 goal. On day 41, it did in fact storm, so I went to the mines and I found a bunch of dust sprites. I've never seen this many dust sprites in my life. I don't know if I just had bad luck before, but they were everywhere, which is perfect because I wanted some more coal as well as some more iron. Also, the chicken saga continues. I forgot to pet them, but at least they had food this time, so we are getting there in terms of taking care of our animals. Day 42, I finished some bundles, put some more sprinklers on my farm, and then late at night I went back and finished the engineer bundle, which ended up completing the boiler room and unlocking the minecart. Not much to report on 43. I used my handy beach chest to store some of the fishing that I did the morning, and then I got really lucky and got 2 iridium bars worth of iridium ore, so that was fantastic. Day 44 was just more fishing and foraging. I did hit level 5 fishing and chose the trapper profession. Day 45, Chicken Saga continues. I forgot to pet them again, They were fed, but I decided enough is enough. So what I decided to do is make a chicken path so that I could clearly see it when I'm watering my crops and not forget about them. Day 46 was so eventful. I woke up and saw the forecast was rain, so I dropped off my watering can to get that upgraded. I also found an ancient seed, so I donated that to the museum and got the recipe for ancient seeds. Later at night, I broke into the secret forest finally, and I got really lucky with a bunch of mahogany seeds. And then on my very first cast fishing, I ended up catching a carp and, more importantly, a dinosaur egg. Day 47 was also eventful. I had a huge harvest on my farm, and then I ended up picking up a rare seed from the traveling cart. After that, I got really lucky, and for the second day in a row, found another dino egg, and then I had a really awkward conversation with Maru's dad, and then ended up selling a lot of stuff, and ended up getting 11,000 gold in one day. As for day 48, I picked up my watering can, dropped off my hoe, and then ended up making a tree corral and planting an apple tree because I knew I needed a lot of apples for my bundles. Day 49, I had quite a few melons to harvest. I spent the rest of the day in the mines, and overnight I hit level 8 farming and finally unlocked the keg recipe, and then I also hit level 6 combat as well. Day 50, halfway through, all I did was build a barn. Day 51 was pretty uneventful. The biggest thing that happened was harvesting some corn and blueberries. On day 52, I finally started reaping the true benefits of my sprinklers. I had a huge harvest, and then I went and bought a couple more chickens, visited the secret woods to gather some hardwood, and ended up finding some new decor for my home. Day 53, I did some errands, I upgraded to a big coop, and I had a huge mine haul. Day 54, I had a big end of season harvest, and then I ended up doing some errands, including delivering a cave carrot to Alex, upgrading my backpack to the biggest size, and buying 2 dairy cows for my new barn. Later, I ran into some trouble in the mines and ended up dying, which lost me the 4 salads I just bought, which cost me 1,000 gold, as well as 30 coal, which was very annoying. Day 55, I bought some duckies, recovered some of my coal through geodes, and built a fence for my animals. Last day of the season, I decided to go to the mines so that I could get some more coal, had my first harvest of wine, and then I begrudgingly attended the festival. Day 57, we are at Fall 1, and it was a big planting day, as well as I planted my rare seed. I knew that this season I had to be very efficient if I wanted to achieve all the goals I originally set. Day 58, I realized I planted a little bit too much around my sprinklers and unlocked the order board. Day 59, I realized I needed a lot of fish for the community center still, caught some, and also a super cucumber. Day 60, after my farm duties, I spent the rest of the day in the mines resource gathering and hit level 7 combat. Day 61, I had a huge beach haul, ended up popping open some geodes and getting a prismatic shard, planted a bunch more seeds, and donated some items to my community center bundles to make a plan for what I still needed. Day 62, I had rain again, and so I just cleared my farm and planted the fall seeds that I got from a bundle I completed. Day 63 was pretty boring, but I just tried to be productive all day and stay up late enough to harvest my wine. Day 64, I harvested some cranberries, started collecting blackberries as they were in season, and completed 2 quests for Linus and Marnie. On day 65, I wanted to get a deluxe coop, but I didn't have quite enough, so I ended up going back a few hours later and choosing to upgrade for the big barn instead. Then I mined for the rest of the night, and I almost went home, but I decided just to go down one more corridor, and I'm so glad I did, because look what I found. On day 66, I tended to my crops, and then I spent the rest of the day fishing. I was trying to get the tiger trout, walleye, and some other fish that I could not seem to catch, and because I'm not using the Stardew wiki, I don't know where to catch these fish. I did, however, get a diamond. On day 67, I collected a lot of blackberries and hardwood. I was very productive this day, but then at the end of the day, I really wanted to milk the cows, and I thought I had enough energy to do it, but I ended up being exhausted. I've actually never had the exhaustion before, so I started walking very slowly, And luckily I was pretty close to home, so I made it to bed before I passed out. Day 68, I had a brand new baby duck hatch, which was great. Also found my first duck feather, and then I spent the rest of the day scything for hay because I knew winter's coming and that's not going to be an option soon. On day 69, I had so many crops to harvest, and it ended up giving me what I needed to complete the most annoying bundle, which was the Forager's bundle. I also ended up catching a tiger trout and a walleye, and so I felt really good about that because I was able to complete one more fishing bundle and made great progress on a couple more as well. Overnight, there was a big noise, and I wasn't sure what it was, but when I walked out onto my farm, I saw that I had this awesome little stone owl looking over my sprinkler crops. So that was really awesome. And then I harvested a huge amount of pumpkins. As you can see, not all my pumpkins finished because I forgot to water the ones without a sprinkler 1 or 2 days, but luckily none of them died. Finally hit level 10 farming overnight, chose the artisan profession because I had some artisan goods stocked up I haven't sold yet, and then had a huge $30,000 day selling my crops. Day 71, I made some mayonnaise and cheese makers so I could really capitalize on that new artisan profession, and I ended up having a harvest for some pale ale and some more wine. Day 72, it was time for the fair. I won the display challenge, and then I gambled all of my coins slowly but surely to get over 2,000. I earned my first star drop, which is going to be really helpful with some more energy. And as we expected from a basic surfer, his favorite thing was waves. Day 73, I decided to finish the vault room. I did all 3 bundles, and then I also completed one other bundle, which was the fall crops. I thought I completed the animal bundle, but I actually needed a large goat milk. But all in all, a successful day for the community center. On day 74, I had a huge harvest day, including a very large pumpkin. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go check out Calico Desert because I might as well. I didn't get very far into the mines, unfortunately. I did find some gold and gems, but then I got the purple haze of doom and I decided I'm done for the day. Day 75 was a great day. Wishbone decided to love me. It was kind of a secret goal for myself that the dog would love me before the end of the year, so I was really happy about that. Then I had a really good beach haul and treated myself to an iridium rod because I knew some of the fish that I still hadn't caught yet were going to be a little bit challenging. I tried to catch a lava eel, but no luck. Day 76, I really started to focus on the artisan goods because if I wanted to make my money goals and complete some of the other things, I knew I really needed to be diligent, collecting eggs every day and putting them into the mayonnaise makers as well as the cheese. I also went back to Calico Desert and I swore that you could catch a scorpion carp in the pond right outside Skull Cave, but all I kept getting was sandfish, so then I really started to question, maybe I'm thinking of a different pond. I went into Skull Cavern and I found some cool stuff, a little bit of iridium, and I made it to level 21, but I just did not have enough time to make it to level 25, which was one of the key quests that I just got in the mail a few days prior. On day 77, I managed to complete my last bundle for the bulletin board, so I finished that. I got a space heater for my barn, and I earned some friendship points with the NPCs. Then I decided to try my luck again at catching a lava eel. I was so close to catching it, and then I completely fumbled. Luckily, my very next cast, I got a chance at redemption, and guess what? I caught it. On day 78, it was quite eventful. I tended to my artisan goods because I wanted to keep that money rolling in. Then I completed a quest for Marnie. I ended up also buying an auto grabber from her because I really wanted to start maximizing my time. I also figured this might be one of the last rainy days, so I went to every single spot where you could fish, lake, river, ocean, and I ended up catching a catfish and a red snapper, which I needed, so I'm so glad that I did this. I also ended up giving Lewis his purple shorts back, accepting a quest from the order board, and accepting another quest from Abigail. I was also able to complete 2 more bundles, and then I decided to head to Calico Desert and try to catch that scorpion carp, but I just kept hooking sandfish. However, I did have one cast where it seemed really hard, so then I thought this is a scorpion carp. However, I didn't end up catching it. On day 79, I went right back to Calico, ate some trout soup so I could increase my fishing level, and after about 6 casts, I ended up catching the scorpion carp. Then I headed into Skull Cavern, and I did find some useful things, finally got to level 25, but then realized there's no actual reward for it, so it kind of felt like a bit of a waste of time. Once I was back in Pelican Town, I ended up completing the Masterfish bundle, which was the one I was the most worried about, so that felt really great. On day 80, I harvested some fruit from my apple tree, and then I made sure to tend to all my crops because we're almost at the end of the season here. I also built a deluxe coop, and then I spent the rest of my day clearing my farm of trees so that I could get some more wood because I knew I'm going to need some for my last few projects. Day 81, it was time to harvest my gemberry, and then I dashed immediately to the community center, and I ended up completing everything I needed to unlock the greenhouse. Since I knew that the greenhouse was going to be in use very soon, I went to Calico Desert, I finally met Sandy, and I picked up some starfruit seeds, as well as a new shirt to wear. I then spent the rest of the night in Skull Cavern and teleported home with a farm totem I found. On day 82, I utilized the greenhouse to plant my ancient seeds, as well as the starfruit seeds I just bought. And then I ended up having a little bit of a chicken on the loose, but I ended up just giving up getting it back in the cage. I'm sure it will go back into the coop at nighttime. Then I used the rest of the melon seeds I had left over from summer to round out my greenhouse. Yes, I know the design is a mess. On day 83, it was time to harvest the majority of the rest of my crops. I also had a nice little mushroom forest growing here, so hopefully that will stay into the next year. I also did a bunch more crafting, organizing of my farm, and of course, making as many artisan goods as possible. I also visited Robin so that I could get my kitchen upgrade, and then I just killed some time until the Spirits Eve festival, where I found a golden pumpkin, as expected. Day 84 was the last day of fall. You can see Robin has gotten to work on my house renovation, and then I really just needed to wrap up everything else. As you can see here, I'm only about halfway to my gold goal, but I do have a lot of stuff I can still sell, as well as I'm going to be making artisan goods into the winter, so I'm still pretty confident that I can reach the goal. Next up, I went to Pierre's and bought some pumpkin seeds so I could plant them in my greenhouse. Next up, it was time to visit Clint and crack open the rest of the geodes I had. After that, I decided to upgrade my gold pickaxe since I'll probably need it for the Skull Cavern come wintertime, and then I went and planted a bunch more seeds and sprinklers in my greenhouse. Yes, I know I'm going to need to fix this design very soon. Day 85, the first day of winter, I was panicking because I didn't know if you could catch sturgeon in the winter, but luckily it was the last fish I needed, so then I scampered around the map to find a snow yam and a holly, and then head to the community center to finish off what I had started. I ended up finishing the community center by putting those last 3 items in, and I was really proud of myself because I've never done the community center within the first calendar year, so that was really exciting. To celebrate my achievement, I decided to head to Jody and Sam's house and have a little bit of a fish fry. Then it was back to work, planted my winter seeds, and then went to bed, and the bridge got repaired. On day 86, so much stuff happened. I woke up in my bigger house, became a Stardew celeb and got a trophy, sent Morris packing finally, found a magnifying glass, got a copper pan, picked up my pickaxe, went to the quarry for the first time. Side note, it was very underwhelming. Bought some starfruit seeds, almost got destroyed by skeletons, and then finally obtained the Galaxy Sword. On day 87, I went to the Skull Cavern, which ended up getting me level 10 mining, and I chose the gemologist profession. On day 88, I was making sure that all my artisan good makers were constantly running so I could maximize my profits to the end of this 100 days. I also was looking around my farm and I noticed out of the corner of my eye something purple, and I had an asteroid on my farm. I also had a bunch of geodes from Skull Cavern, so I opened all those up, and then I went to Willie's shop and revealed his boat project. So then I thought, could I actually get to Ginger Island in the next 10 days? On the way back to my farm, I stopped in at Marnie's and bought a couple rabbits, and then I decided to start collecting hardwood because I did not have enough to repair the boat. On day 89, I accidentally bought 15 pizzas instead of 3 pizzas, and I ended up catching a squid that I could give to Willie for one of my quests. On day 90, I repaired the boat, and then I gave Emily a gift on behalf of Clint, but it kind of backfired, haha. Dropped off my hoe to upgrade it to steel level, bought a deluxe barn, and then overnight the boat got repaired by Willie and Robin. Day 91, I decided to visit Ginger Island, and I ended up starting my golden coconut hunt. I met Leo, kind of. Then I realized I don't have my hoe, which is going to be a key requirement to get Ginger Island going, so I ended up going back to Stardew Valley. I tried to find Carolyn to give her a birthday present, but instead I got that weird tea cutscene, and then later in the day I finally gave her a birthday present. Day 92, I got some tea saplings, some shipwreck goods, and I whooped everybody at the fishing competition. On day 93, I picked up my hoe, went to Ginger Island because I wanted to collect 10 gold coconuts, got obliterated by some tiger slimes, but I did hit my 10 coconuts. Adds insult to injury, I did lose my coal again. At least I did have 10 golden coconuts, so I could open up the west side of the island, start the fisherwoman's quest, explore the island a little bit, and collect some more golden coconuts. And then I ended up going home for an early evening. In 94, I decided since I needed coal, I should try to do the ectoplasm quest as well as collect some coal, which worked out pretty good because I did end up with 12 coal and finding the ectoplasm. So I delivered it to the wizard, and after that I spent the rest of the day chopping wood and hardwood. On day 95, I got the recipe for a mini obelisk. I ended up harvesting a bunch of crops from my greenhouse and replanting with starfruit. Then I went to Skull Cavern and went on an iridium hunt, and I did pretty successful, and around 1 a.m. I teleported home. In 96, I hatched a baby dinosaur, put my artisan good makers to work, completed a quest for the wizard, and then chopped a bunch of wood. After that, I bought a sheep and a pig, made my fenced area bigger, moved all of my buildings around, and built a silo. To round out the day, I refilled my silo with hay and harvested all my outdoor crops. I was pumping out the artisan goods since I only have a few days left to make money, picked up my gold watering can, and then headed to Skull Cavern, where I got a lot of gold ore, iridium ore, and other treasures that I could craft into bars or sell. I even fought a dinosaur and ended up getting another dino egg. I ended up finding another full dinosaur floor and thought, no way, so I just went home and started crafting some gold bars and iridium bars. Day 98, I put another dinosaur egg in the incubator, smelted some more bars, and had a big harvest of pumpkins. I also scavenged for some forageables and cut some more hardwood, and then I had one last big haul of artisan goods. I also spent the night fishing so I could find some green algae for a fish pond. Day 99, I went back to Ginger Island for redemption, and this time those tiger slimes were toast. So I ended up collecting a few more golden walnuts. I pressed on into the cave, and in a very short amount of time, I got a golden walnut, some cinder shards, and some pineapple seeds. So those were the things that I really was looking for anyways. I then teleported back to Pelican Town because I did want to go to the night market, where I bought some cauliflower seeds and went to the mermaid show. I thought I remembered the combination, but I didn't. Day 100, the very last day, I started the day off by planting my pineapple seeds, taking one last chance to humiliate myself with my greenhouse layout. Then I decided I wanted a last memorable day, so I went to Ginger Island since there's so much left to do. I got some lucky golden walnuts right away, so I thought maybe I could hit 20 and unlock the farmhouse. I then found a golden coconut, which I knew would give me +1 if I could get back to Clint, so I tried the crystal game, but I failed. I found my 18th one, and I tried a couple things like fishing to get the last one, but it wasn't working out. I did want to go to the night market, so I ended up teleporting home. I bought some melon seeds, and then it was time for some deep sea fishing. I knew the last day of the 100 days was during the night market, so I really made another secret goal to catch all 3 fish that you could catch underwater. So I got the spookfish right away, and then it took me a little bit longer, but then I ended up catching the midnight squid. And then right as I had my last cast, it was a really difficult fish, so I assumed it was the last one. And sure enough, it was the blobfish, so I did get all three. So then I kind of felt like it was justified that I didn't unlock the farmhouse on Ginger Island. Going to bed on day 100, now it's time to recap what goals I hit and my experience overall. I had such a blast making this video. It was so fun to play through on the beach farm. If you haven't played the beach farm, I really recommend it. It just has its own unique style and challenges, and I cannot wait for the next 100 and beyond days. If you like this series and watch to the end, again, thank you so much. And let me know in the comments if you want to see 100 to 200 days video, and if so, what you want me to focus on. Relationships, getting rich, completing Ginger Island, all of the above. As for my goals, let's see what I completed. So my number one was completing the community center, and of course you saw that we did that, so I'm really stoked about that one. Goal number 2 was the profits. Did I make 750k? No, I was way off. I think that if I would have had a better start to spring and even the first part of summer, I probably could have made it, but it just gives me an even bigger challenge for next time. Goal number 3 was my skills, and I did hit farming and mining level 10, but foraging level 9, fishing level 7, and combat level 9. So I was pretty close, and honestly, I did not put enough focus on fishing, so I kind of figured that one was going to flop. But overall, I'm pretty impressed. Number 4, I wanted to be antisocial, and really I was. A lot of the hearts that I got were from completing the community center, and I did talk to the NPCs at most of the festivals, just because in the next 100 days, it just might make it a little bit easier if I do have some base hearts. And Maru seemed to be the person that I was getting the closest to, but you never know what could happen. Some of these other bachelors and bachelorettes might sneak up. Number 5, not using the wiki, which I said a little bit into the video, so I actually didn't end up having to use the wiki, and a few of the things I got really lucky because I was stumped on a lot of the community center bundle items and fish, and I'm just really thankful that I ended up finding everything, because usually it would take me probably till year 3 if I wasn't using the wiki. Overall, I'm happy with my farm. Another goal that I didn't actually really mention is I wanted to try to make the farm as aesthetic as possible, because that's a really good challenge in 100 days because your resources and time are limited. I didn't do the greatest job, but that's okay. That gives me something to focus on in the future. I had some rare events happen, which was really fun to see, and overall, I just really enjoyed this playthrough. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. That's going to really help me out to bring you a lot more content, and stay tuned for the next video. What's going to happen?